Hi everybody, my name's Elle and welcome back to Death Stranding. Let's see what all of Lucy's notes will reveal together. So all of Lucy's journals are somehow connected to Hartman quests. So I thought it appropriate to sit next to the fire and read all of Lucy's reports together. So let's see what we're gonna learn. I'm a little nervous. That's not the right thing. Report concerning the voidout in the satellite town of UCA 01002 near Central Knot. Recorder unknown. UCA 01032 has been wiped off the map by a voidout, leaving nothing but an enormous crater. Terrorism was suspected at first, but the investigation spearheaded by Bridges quickly ruled out that possibility and eventually concluded that the cause was the corpse of a civilian which had been left to necrotize unnoticed in an urban residential area. The deceased was Lucy Strand. Tragically, she was also 7 months pregnant. The child had already been named Lou. Cause of death was ruled as a drug overdose, possibly intentional, though that remains unconfirmed at this time. Wait. Surveillance data was sent to Bridges headquarters for analysis, but the results were inconclusive. Lucy's husband, Sam Strand, had been away for some time and became concerned when he was unable to contact his wife. Though he attempted to return home, the voidout was triggered immediately after his arrival. Being a repatriate, Sam was the sole survivor of the blast. As the deceased was the wife of a prominent member of Bridges, who himself is the son of President Strand, public support for the organization suffered. Many criticized the crisis management team handling of the situation, as well as the priorities of the organization and President Strand herself. Some believed that Sam was involved with his wife's death and that he should be held to account. While both the administration and Bridges adamantly defended him for a time, public pressure continued to mount. In a gesture, his own co-workers suspect was his way of taking responsibility. Sam Strand resigned from Bridges. His current whereabouts are unknown. Okay, so this isn't going to be happy sunshine and rainbows then. Got it. Report number 1, Lucy, where unknown. I've just concluded my first therapy session with Sam Strand. It was not held at the patient's request. Sam's adoptive mother, President Strand, approached me in the hope I might help her son overcome his aphantasophobia. Sam is an intriguing case, his reluctance notwithstanding. He recognizes that his condition has and will continue to cause him much distress. I suspect it is rooted in a childhood trauma, but unfortunately, we have only just scratched the surface. I cannot even begin to speculate what it might be. Like many of the Bridges core team members, Sam is a doomed sufferer. Unlike them, however, he is also a repatriate. Whether or not this is related to aphantasmophobia, I cannot say at this time, but he would hardly be the first to manifest phobias as a result of his abilities. As an infant, Sam lost both parents and was adopted by President Strand. Owing to her stressful and time-consuming responsibilities, I can only presume that she was unable to afford him sufficient attention, which is to say that a distant relationship with his adoptive mother may be a contributing factor. As previously mentioned, though, Sam is very reluctant to talk about himself. He is an intensively private individual, and it'll take time to build trust and convince him to open himself up to me. Lucy was his therapist. Report number 2. Progress has been slow, but Sam has finally started to open up to me. However, his recollection of early childhood is confused and contradictory. He has difficulty distinguishing between genuine memories. He has difficulty distinguishing between genuine memories and reoccurring dreams. Sam even claims to have met his stepsister Amelie on the beach several times while quite young. An impossible claim, to say the least. I'm only a little older than Sam, but I was born before the Death Stranding. a fact that tends to affect the way we think about the beach. In my professional opinion, the beach is a figment of our collective imagination, a shared delusion. But people born later are more likely to take its existence as a given. I wonder if they find comfort in the belief because it helps to explain phenomena like BTs and repatriates like Sam. Similarly, my theory is that Sam's manufactured childhood memories of the beach are his way of coping with the fact that neither Amelie nor Bridget spend much time with him. I believe this is also the reason he still clings to the dream catcher Amelie gave him even now as an adult. You could call it his security blanket. It may also be the key to overcoming his aphantasmophobia. If Sam were to emotionally distance himself from Amelie, it might reduce his resistance to physical intimacy. I will propose this approach to him in our next session. Report number 3. It comes at no surprise, but Sam was unreceptive to my suggestion and rejected my assessment of his relationship with Amelie. He asserted that he is not dependent on her or Bridget, and even went so far as to question my credentials as a psychotherapist. His pronounced resistance to the idea only serves as further evidence of his dependency. Nevertheless, there is little I can do if Sam is unwilling to explore the possibility, other than continue to share my observations and hope that he eventually changes his mind. For the time being, I've decided to focus instead on Sam's feelings towards Bridges and his place within the organization, given that it was founded to support and protect his adoptive mother, and that the other core members have dooms like he does. I think there is something to be gained from the discussion. His growing responsibilities within Bridges due to their expanding mandate and his abilities as a repatriate surely put him under great pressure. And I wonder if his enthusiasm for their mission was sincere. Based on the time spent together thus far, I believe he may have embraced his role because it helped him to cope with feelings of isolation, that he pledged himself to an impossible endeavor because it was preferable to living and dying alone. Oh my. I decided a different approach was required, and so I requested a meeting with the president. Discretion was vital, as any information which might suggest she is receiving mental health treatment could be exploited by her opponents. The meeting was listed as an interview in official records, though I was more than willing to offer my services had they been requested. I opened by asking about Sam's childhood, to which the president responded with an immediate and heartfelt apology. Her frankness shocked me, I must confess. She expressed deep regret for her failure to engage with him physically and emotionally as she felt a mother should. At times it felt as though she was apologizing to her son by proxy. Her candor was as impressive as it was appreciated. The president told me that her daughter Amelie had mostly taken care of Sam in her absence. She glossed over the details, but she divulged that Amelie also has dooms and claimed that she would often take Sam with her to play on the beach. Interestingly, President Strand suggested that their time spent together there may be related to his current condition. President Strand loves her son. I don't agree. I do not agree. My meeting with her confirmed this beyond any doubt. The question, I believe, is whether or not Sam perceived his mother's love. Both Sam and the president talk about the beach as though it were a real physical place, but I remain convinced that it does not exist. That it is a shared delusion that Sam and Amelie's so-called visits are mental constructs. Sam would not necessarily be aware of this, especially if it had been planted in his mind. Such an explanation would fit with his claims that he has never been able to visit the beach of his own volition. What if subconsciously Sam has developed an attachment to or longing for the beach, one that parallels his feelings towards his sister and mother? Furthermore, what if they have all become, in essence, objects of veneration? Upon further consideration, it is not so hard to imagine. President Strand is an exceptional woman who exhibits pan-romantic qualities, as does her daughter Amelie. This is surely one of the reasons why they have been able to commit themselves so completely to the cause of American Reconstruction, their one true love. Sam, on the other hand, I have diagnosed as demisexual. His sexual desires are strictly limited to those with whom he has formed an emotional connection, excepting family members like Amelie, of course. It is only natural to more highly regard those with whom we develop intimate emotional connections with. For children, this can lead to veneration. Yet there is also an inherent contradiction in this, for divinity is distant by nature, even as we yearn to grow closer to it. I have come to the conclusion that this contradiction is the root of Sam's aphanphosmophobia. Okay, emotional connections. Sam doesn't have any. 6. I decided to share with Sam my working theory regarding his condition. I was prepared for some resistance, but the intensity of his anger was surprising. He glared at me, and he reframed my assessment as wild speculation that he had been brainwashed by a cult. It was the first time I'd managed to coax from him such a powerful emotional response. So he's like, you're saying I've been brainwashed by a cult. That's what your whole idea is. Well, while I found it a little frightening, I did my best to remain professional, welcoming the breakthrough, the reduction in the distance between us. That was how I presented myself, but in retrospect, a part of me was delighted by his aggressive response. Sam stated that he is a repatriate. I challenged him and said that repatriation was nothing more than a fiction used to explain the phenomena of near-death experiences, one that makes use of the equally fictional beach. Emboldened, I pressed him further until I finally told him to snap out of it, to renounce his fantasies about the other side. For an instant, I thought he might explode in anger again, but instead he grew quiet, and after a long moment, rose to his feet and left the room without saying another word. I fear I may have pushed him too far. 7. Oh God, where to begin? Sam turned up for his appointment today right on time. I remember he looked calmer than usual, though that might have been wishful thinking. He'd been thinking a lot about our last session and how it had ended. He said he wished I was right about the beach and what it meant to be a repatriate, that he appreciated the time we'd spent together, that I'd spent listening to his stories. And then he pulled out a syringe. He was still so calm, though at the point I wasn't sure. He said it wasn't all in his head and that he could prove it, and then he stuck the needle in his chest. It all happened so fast I froze in my chair as he went into convulsions, eventually falling out of his seat. I ran to him. Then, as he was lying on the floor motionless, I removed the syringe and performed chest compressions, but it was too late. I sat there next to him for what felt like an eternity, and then he opened his eyes and sat up, still wearing that same calm expression. There was another handprint on his arm, a fresh one, left by the dead. He told me before, I'm a repatriate, he said. Every time I die, I get stuck in between and then come back. He was searching my eyes now, reaching for the words as much as they were struggling to come out. That world won't have me, and neither will this one. I'm only free to come and go when I'm with her, with Amelie. There were tears in his eyes, and he looked so lonely, so I started crying too. I'd taken his hand in mine without realizing it, but he didn't pull away. I squeezed, and he squeezed back. He needs someone he can be close to, be intimate with, someone outside his family, someone who isn't Bridget or Amelie, someone to whom he can reveal the whole of himself, someone who will devote themselves to him. Me. I don't remember what I said, but I remember that he nodded, that he smiled, and that we held each other for a long time. Oh my God. 8. A few days after the incident in my office, I tendered my resignation, a classic case of counter-transference, the therapist getting emotionally involved with their client, and there was no way my professional pride would permit me to continue working. I felt guilty, of course. There was a permanent shortage of therapists, and many of my clients will struggle to find help elsewhere. But after what happened with Sam, I didn't see any other option. To be honest, I've already come to terms with it. What I'm doing for Sam more than makes up for it. I'd never normally use this word, but I really do believe his aphanphosmophobia has been cured. He's shown so much progress that, absent an extremely traumatic experience, I doubt his symptoms will ever return. To my surprise, the president didn't have any problems with our relationship. If anything, she was pleased. I suppose this means I'll soon be joining the Strand family, together with this new life growing inside of me. Whoa, that happened fast! Jeez, that happened so quick! Okay. Our baby's doing well. We've been told we're having a girl. Sam's already picked out a name for her, Louise. Lou, he likes to call her. He talks to her a lot, touching my stomach, telling her to grow big and strong. Bridget was delighted when she found out and suggested that we take a family photograph. Amelie was out of town, so it was just the three of us, blushing, smiling, and that same blush, that same smile when we received the printout, along with apologies for being old-fashioned. There was a funny little message on it. Be stranded with love. Handwritten and signed. It's unique now. You can't digitize it or copy it. I'll always remember those words and that moment forever. Little Lou's 28 weeks now. The doctors just checked us both out and said we're doing fine. And I'm not so sure. Lately, I've been having the same terrible dream every night. I open my eyes and I'm all alone on the beach. I'm lonely and afraid, so I start wandering around looking for someone, anyone. I spot Sam and Amelie standing at the water's edge, their backs to me. Relieved, I call out to them. Her hair shimmers in the gray light, but when she turns, it's her mother's face, twisted with sadness and pain. She speaks and says, "I'll be waiting for you on the beach." And I scream so loud, and then I wake up. Everything's gone wrong. I didn't understand at the time. I was a therapist, a good one, but even I couldn't make sense of nightmares, of what was happening to me. Bridget came to visit the other day. "They're not nightmares," she said. I hadn't told her yet. I felt Lou stirring inside of me as she continued. She said she was sorry, that she didn't know it would happen. Lou's special. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. She said that a lot. Lou had Sam's blood, and through her I was bound to the beach. Don't be afraid, she said that a lot. I'd cured Sam, made him whole, given him a life to live for, to protect, made him a part of this world. She had a lot to say about that, about how the world was a jumbled mess, life and death all mixed up, but that Sam, my Sam, might be the one to make it whole again. Like I'd made him whole. Without him, our fate was sealed, but with him, there was still hope for a future. And then she told me I was right. The beach exists within each of our mind, but that didn't mean it was just a figment of our imagination. It had value, purpose, and in time, I would understand. She took my hand like I'd taken his on that day a lifetime ago. She smiled and squeezed. I was there on the beach. Everything I had seen in my nightmares, I saw it in that instant. Somewhere inside me, Lou was laughing, and then it all fell into place. Sam's birth, his family, the Death Stranding. For the first time, I saw how all the pieces fit into a terrible truth I didn't want to believe but couldn't deny. I saw my part in it too, and little Lou's. Those funny little words on the picture, be stranded with love. You'll have questions, and I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. I only hope this will help you to understand. Lou's kicking woke me up. I was alone, half asleep, so everything around me looked askew. That all too familiar feeling of the waking and dreaming being tangled up. But you and Bridget and Amelie led even more muddled lives, don't you? A reality between life and death, between this world and the next, because of all the chaos and confusion beyond imagination stranded on our shore. There are pills on the table next to me that I just took. All at once. I've tried to make sense of it, but this was never my world. I was born into an older one without a beach, where the dead stayed buried and life moved on. I'm shaking so hard. I don't think the drugs are working. I've got some syringes loaded with sedatives. Enough, I think. I'm going to use them, one after another, until I run out. I love you, Sam. I've always loved you. Okay. I know I wasn't expecting sunshine and rainbows, but what do you all make of that? So, Lucy helped Sam. She got to know Sam. Then realized that Sam was telling the truth about everything, fell in love with Sam. They were having a baby named Louise. In all of the reports you hear in the game, Sam was supposed to have a son named Lou. It sounds like that was changed in the reports. Or maybe they just said boy because they called her Lou. Ooh. And then Amelie went and shared everything. The baby was going to have dooms. Do y'all think they took Lucy's baby and made Lucy's baby a BB? Why do you have to do me like this? So this is just absolutely tragic. So Sam finally meets somebody that he is emotionally connected to. They have a baby. Minded that was a very quick turnaround. They had the incident in the office, and then like a few like the report says a few days after the office incident. So I'm assuming those two go together, and then she mentions she's pregnant. So Sam moves very quickly. But regardless of that, the fact that she was the therapist of somebody with dooms who was having those nightmares, he inadvertently passed it to her because she was connected to the baby, and then she couldn't handle the nightmares and died and unalived. And just because it talks about like suicide rates are very heavy with people with dooms, depression's very heavy with people with dooms. That's just tragic. That's just I kind of feel like Amelie and Bridget had something to do with it. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a connection there. This is hard. But if this is the kind of content you enjoy, we'll be reading the Higgs ones next. So please like and subscribe this video and ring that bell. That way you get notified when the next video comes out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!